Enlighten. It's a little travel trailer. Let's go take a look at it. It's a clean looking little camper. Let's see what we got going on. Alright, well, we cut some of this up. Oh, why we get all these shavings up underneath here? That's weird. That is weird. Looks like they cut down. That's what it looks like. They cut down the turn bar. Wonder why they did that. That's what that is. It's a corner mold. It looks like they cut it down. That's odd. So, here's your typical RV roof rack. You've seen them all. Put more on, more on. They just slobber all this stuff all over it. I wonder why it leaks. So, we're going to peel all this up, get rid of this OSB. We'll be putting down some plywood. So, this is what they want you to do, is go around and just keep checking all this. But that's not the right way to do a roof. So, some of the other things you may notice right here, look how tight that is to the roof. Can't even get your fingers under there. So, water, there's a foam gasket under here, and when all that water comes and the pollen and the dirt and everything starts hitting against there, it's going to rot it out. And then when the gasket fails, it will just leak into the roof, obviously, and you get a lot of damage. So we're going to obviously elevate it, but we've got some issues right here. What was here? Is that an antenna or something?
No, there wasn't nothing there.
Oh, I wonder if a tree branch hit this. I can't remember.
Right here.
Oh, here's another one.
I don't know.
Ah, here's the patch, that one over here. That's what it was. Yeah, must be a tree branch or something, but you can tell they've been trying to keep the water out. You can see the difference of the self-leveling. Then it's going to crack and split like it is right there, like right in here. So I'm going to get rid of all that nonsense. When I clean all this up, you're probably going to see all this shaping around and everything. So we're going to get rid of all that. So we're going to clean this up. And then you always have these lines that come from the plywood, I guess, right up underneath. There's nothing there. It's just the way that is. I don't know. I've seen it before many a times. A lot of people ask. But I don't know why it does it right on the seam, because it's not even on the underside. So it's just kind of weird why it does that. But all they use to kind of protect this seam is this. It's just drywall tape. It's just drywall mesh. That's all it is. It's they didn't. Sometimes they'll run like this is just a piece of tape right here. That's all it is. It's low budget tape that they put on there, and they use that so when they go around the edge, right here, their thought is they're going to protect this wood edge with the tape on the for the rubber coming around, right, the roof membrane. But so we'll be, like you said, we're going to open the whole thing up and show you what it is. You see the tape right here that I was just telling you about. That's what they use. This is really up almost flush with the roof. Should be dropped down just a little bit, but they probably couldn't if this is hitting the awning. So we're going to investigate that and see if we can get that dropped down just a little bit. That helps to put a good bead of caulking on it. So if this is the first time you're watching our videos, you skip the ads. We don't monetize, so you can skip the ads, and it's no big deal to us. That's a YouTube thing. We put these videos on here for the customer to see, so they can see all the work we did. That's the whole start of putting them on YouTube was for that reason, because everybody has questions. What'd you see? What'd you find? How'd you fix it? So, well, go watch the video, because they're probably going to forget by by the time we usually finish. We're usually on another one, get going, and by the time they come get them, they all look the same. So, all right, well, let us get to work and strip this all apart, and you will see what we got. So we're going to remove the decking. We're going to check the underside. We know we got wet insulation over there, so let's see what we can do. All right, so they didn't have insulation in here, so we're going to put some in. I don't know why it was short. That metal that we had seen, I thought they had cut that bar, but they didn't. I guess they cut the siding, and that's where all the fragile was. So then some of the other things we're going to look for, this is why we open them up. And get this out. Right here, you got that one in there pretty, there's one there. So these are ferrules, And that's so you can't put a fastener through there. But the inside of this ferrule is sharp. So what we do is we go back. When I say they won't put one more red cent, it's just a plastic bushing. And it goes in here because it'll start to irritate the insulation off the wire. So, you know, you just put them in. Real simple, right? So over here, especially on this one, because of this going back and forth, this looks like a coax cable anyways, but still if it was a, you know, 120 line or whatever, I don't know what they got. So you got some protective plates, pretty smart. This one doesn't need one, but that's what we're looking for. Making sure everything's okay and make sure it's not compromised or in any manner. This is what I was talking about right here. So if you look, you can see that little score right there. So after a while, that may irritate it. So we're just going to put a bushing in there like we did the other ones. Here's a couple more over here. You can see this got some, obviously some rot, so we're going to have to address that. But look at there. So you don't want that to breach, and then you go to a campsite, and if we don't check all this, someone goes to a campsite, and we'll say that it's at its last leg. This wire here doesn't work. Already at its last leg. Drives out of here, goes to a campground, goes get set up, hits a few bumps on the way, goes get set up, flips the switch, it doesn't work. Who do you think he's going to call first? And say, hey, y'all put a screw through the wire. So, and that's more than likely what it is. So we got this band right here that's rotted. So we're going to get all this cleaned up. This is we're going to have to get that squared away. So, all right. So other than that, then we'll put some more insulation in here. This had insulation. I'm sure it was wet. You can see it's still stuck here. Now this is why you want to get this up, because this stuff, it won't dry out. This is still, like, even the water got in there, and you look at it, you go, see, it already dried up. Well, no, it didn't. It's still wet in there. If I put a moisture meter on there, you'd see that's wet, all stringy. It's not soaked, but it's still moisture, and it's going to start making mold. So we got to get some mold kill in there. You can get all that squared away. Then I want to check up underneath here. Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. See how it clumps up like that? That's wet insulation. When you have dry insulation, you can squeeze it, and it doesn't clump up like this. Okay? This is wet, so you got to pull this up, get that insulation out. At least get that out and inspect it and see what we got. Get a blower in there, get some mold kill on it. So that's what we're doing now. Once we're satisfied with all that, then we get the decking on, we can put the roof together. So it doesn't have any ductwork. If it did, we'd be looking for the ductwork to be properly taped. So, all right, let's get something done. All right, so back to this corner. This is all rotted. And it's rotted all the way down here. All this is rotted. So we got to take all that out. This piece is rotted. This piece is just the tail end, but more than likely just pull it out. I don't think it's because it's all rotted here. See? So, and then we'll check down here. But this piece has to be replaced. This is a band. That's what it's called. There's a band to collect the trusses. When you do a deck, these would be your joists. This would be a band joist. Some people call them a ribbon. But this is where the gutter is going to screw into. So if we don't change that, you're not going to get the gutter to cinch properly on there. So that could be a potential, obviously a potential leak. Same for this. If we don't fix this, we can't get this corner mold to come back and sit properly and stay secured. So the caulking will fail. So we got to get all this right. So the other side's fine. There's nothing wrong over there. And then we pulled all this insulation back. Most of it, but it went down pretty good. It went down a lot further than I figured. But, you know, all that wet insulation you can still see here and here. We're going to get another bushing in here. So I'm going to clean all this up. That seems okay down there. It seems like this just started, like, obviously up here, and then it hadn't made it back there yet because this is fine. We've got the insulation put back in. We even added some here because it was missing. Then we made all our repairs, put all our little redheads in, and then we made our repairs to this band, to these pieces in here, and this piece here. You can see we got it all stitched back. So we're good to go. We got to close it up, Once we close it up, get some decking on it. All right, so we got the decking here all done. And you see all the glue we use. We glue all these down. That's what you want to do. So we started over here. Got some glue there. It's kind of boring to watch. So once we get all the glue on there, then we're going to staple it all down. You want to staple these. You end up splitting those if you start driving screws them. That's why it's not a good practice. You want to staple them. If you get a good staple gun, you should be able to do it. And like you say, you can see, we not only do we glue it down, I want to glue it to the other piece too. So you run a good bead up against the edge there like he's doing. And then that bonds it to each sheet as well. We want this done right. Be done. So we get it all glued up. This other side, the driver's side, is already done. We've got our metal protection on here. We put that shoulder on. And then once we got all that done, everything's all glued and fastened down. So now you can see it's all glued. You can kind of see that sheen. Contact cements, that's what these are. You have to glue both sides. The RV industry doesn't do that. They want to save some money, so they only usually do the plywood side in hopes that the thing stays down pretty well, and it usually doesn't. You'll see it blow up as you're driving down the road. You'll see some campers with their roofs puffing up, and that's generally the cause. They just don't use enough adhesive or apply it properly. But once this is all cured, then it will flashed off is really what it is. Then we just roll it over and we'll start assembling the roof. But we got the brunt of it all done now, and then we'll be putting a gutter on the back over here. We put a gutter on there. All rolled out, so now we just hit it with a big roller. Make sure it's got a good bond. Need some oil on that thing. Squeak. All right, so we're gonna set our lens in here. What we did is we wrapped it all up. I don't want any water to get in there. This piece, these pieces here that we boxed out, they go inside. The inner lens will come up. Any water, if this lens, well, when it cracks, I mean, that's going to last forever, but when it cracks, at least it'll drip into the shower. They'll know they got an issue instead of it getting into the roof. So we've got a solar fan going over here, and then we're going to have an intake right here. And the reason why I do that is because this cavity doesn't have any ventilation. And what tends to happen in a lot of coaches is the condensation, especially now, this is January, you'll have some frost on here. When you get frost on here, you actually have it on the inside as well, up underneath here. It's up in here. So now the sun comes up, it evaporates this off. The lens gets warm, and what it does is diffuses the condensation here, the moisture, and it'll drool down. And when it does, it will drool down and get either on a roof deck, on your typical roofs, and then the screws come loose because the water gets wicked up into the decking. So basically it gets rotted out, the screws come loose. So people keep going around it with self-leveling, and they keep putting more and more on there, and they're just slobbering it on there. They get frustrated because they don't know what the problem is, and that is what the problem. You got some rot in there, frame's probably rotted, so forth. So by doing it the way we did here, right here, you'll have an intake. This fan will kick on when the sun comes up to evaporate on top of here. When it evaporates that off, there's going to be a solar fan over here. That'll kick on, and it'll pull constant air through this cavity, and then that'll keep it dry so I don't get any dry rot in there. That's the whole principle to it. So there's your little fan. So like I said, that'll kick on, and it'll just keep pulling it. You don't have to come up and flip a switch. You don't have to do any of that. It's all done. All done. So it keeps it nice and dry. So then what we did is we put just obviously you can see it's just caulking. But we put that on there so if the lens cracks, we'll say it cracks right here, and then it leaks. I don't want it to leak in that hole and start rotting it. So I want it, you can see, want it to drip around the other way, you know, one way or the other. I don't want it to be, you know, get in the holes. So that's why I did it that way. So now we're going to just get this mounted, and we'll be almost done. All right, so we got our feet on here. That actually gives us some balance when we put it up on the curb. So this is the gasket we took off. Look at this gasket. See how it's all built up like that? That's because somebody keeps going in and tightening it down, tightening it down. Look how thin it got. I mean, this is very thin right here. So this is the new gasket. Look how thick that is. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's why you want these things up on a curb, because you can end up having some serious roof deck issues when this gasket fails like this. So the fix is not to go up there and keep cranking it down. If you have issues, you replace the gasket. So this has plenty of room, plenty of drainage. The other thing we did is we just opened up that bleed hole right there, that drain hole for the condensation. And then we're just going to clean this trough out here. There's a couple little dust balls down in there, like that one there. And then a few other little stuff in there. But overall, it's not terribly dirty. But we're still going to do it. And it's also January. I doubt they're going to be using their air conditioner. But nonetheless, we'll get it cleaned up for them. We're done with our Enlighten. We want to thank the customer for bringing the coach to us. We really appreciate the work. And we do these videos to show the customer all the work we did, what we found. Everybody has questions about it. So all that said, we this isn't really YouTube content. Well, I'm not a YouTuber. I just put these together mainly for the customer. I know other folks watch them and I appreciate it. And it also kind of shows obviously our work skills, what we look for, that type of stuff, right? So all that said, I want to make sure that I did thank the customer. I always thank them, you know, when they come in, but I like to say it on the video just the same, you know. But we're all set with it now. Everything's all done. You can see what I was talking about with the Skylight here, with the fans. That's the intake. There's the solar fan. So now again, it being January of 25, so we put these on as well. That's so we keep track of the roof. But we offer free inspections. You bring this coach back to us, we inspect it for free annually. You don't even have to get on here. We'll maintain the whole thing for it. Whatever it needs, we're going to take care of it. That's just the way we do it. The system in itself is a 20-year membrane, but I'll touch on that in a second here. Getting back to the Skylight, when I was explaining about the dew that settles on here, like I showed you up underneath, you get that frost that'll get burned off from the sun, but there's still frost up underneath there. Obviously, depending on how cold it is, but it could just be simple dew. Diffuses down, all the moisture gets in there. The fans kick on. That fan will kick on, and it'll just keep drawing air all the way through it. So that's not going to pop off. The if you watch some of my other ones years, you know, probably not even years ago, but recent ones, we had these caps on there like that. And I would tell folks to take that cap off and put it on here if this popped off, because this is just a channel. So that would leak, but these can't. These are new ones that I found. And there's actually a filter inside here already and a screen. So it was just easy peasy to be able to just do this instead of that. Those ones I still had to put a filter in, but those are just spring loaded. If these come off, I mean, yeah, you want to put them back on. That would be a good idea just to keep, you know, some birds or whatever out of it. But water-wise, leak-wise, it won't leak because the way those boots are designed, there's just no way for the water to get inside there. Like any water that got down would just go into the holding tank. So, but everything here you see is all heat welded. It's all heat welded together. This is a commercial grade TPO. This is a thermoplastic. That's what thermoplastic means. TPO is thermoplastic, and it allows us to weld everything. So all these curves for the refrigerator, for, you know, these the vent, Skylight here, you know, all of them, I fabricate every single one of these, and then with the we heat weld all this. There's no caulking. It's not glued. It's all heat welded. You may be able to see a little bit of sheen in that corner, and that sheen is from the heat. From being welded in there, you know. Air conditioner, we elevated that up off the roof line, as you can see. So now all the water that comes around is going to get diverted. That's the whole point of a curb. This is how a flat roof functions. So, you know, on a commercial end, or any flat roof for that matter, it doesn't have to be commercial, but they need to have curbs on there. So when you get if some folks that opt for a spray-on roof system, you still have the same issue with the air conditioner sitting on the roof with a foam gasket. Those aren't covered on a warranty. This is all covered. Everything's covered. You're not going to have an issue with this roof. So when I build and design all these curbs, I build them with basically what's known as a counterflash. So now as the water comes through here, it's going to get diverted and go around the other way. It's not going to jump. And that's where you get a lot of your issues, is an erosion effect. And that's what this minimizes, and also directs water around a penetration. This is known as flashing. This is known as counter flashing. So like I said, it's all heat welded in here. You can even see we made one for the base of that antenna to put it on there. And I made that way, even though it's small. I could have got away with a smaller one. But if that breaks, then he can put in, wants to upgrade, he can do another, like a Winegard has one that they call a Z as in zebra, Z1. That'll fit on there. King is another manufacturer. They have one they call a King Jack that'll fit on there. So you can just easily just put another one on there if that's the reason why I made it that big. And then the other thing that we did, so I go around here. What I didn't like was how high the gutter was. It was flush with the top. So we got all that to seat right in there and got the awning back on. We went around and caulked all the windows. Those are lights. Went around the lights, went around the windows, the tops of them, especially on the other side. We noticed that there was some gapping. And the other thing we did, so we went around those windows up there. There's a couple up there. We put this gutter on the back, so now when the water comes down, I don't want it drooling down the side, on the back side of this wall. I'd rather it get off the roof. So we put a gutter on the back, and that'll help drain the water off. Again, you want to get water to get removed off the roof system. So warranty on this is a 20-year commercial grade TPO membrane. There's a reinforced membrane. So it's the same exact product you're going to find on a hotel. You're going to find it on an office building, library. Same exact product. And you can see, like right here, you can see that weave. Probably see these little squares in there. The camera's, I don't know if it's picking it up or not. There you go. So you can see all that. That's a reinforcement. And what that does is it adds strength to the membrane. It resists against tree branches, hail, and it's like a nylon mesh that's built into it. Let's see, I'll show you on here. You can see it right there. There's it. So that gives it a lot of strength. This is a very strong system. So not only do we take your RV roof and upgrade it to a commercial roof, on a commercial level, they start at 45 mil. That's the thickness. 60 is thicker, and that's what this is. So we upgrade you even one from the commercial end. So this is a 20-year roof system. Your coach or your camper is going to see a lot more than 20 years out of these. I'm guessing they're going to probably see 25 years anyways out of these, because folks don't normally park them out in the sun all the time. You know, as a rule, they're not parked out in the sun all the time, like a commercial building is just sitting in the weather all the time, no shade, nothing, being exposed to all the elements. RVs generally aren't like that. So that's why I say you'll get more out of it. The maintenance wise, all you have to do is just wash it, literally wash it with soap and water. It's easy peasy, it's done. You know, if you want to get up here with a pressure washer, you can do that as well. It'll handle it. You know, as long as you don't have one of those real sharp pencil tips. But if you've got like a 15-degree angle, 25-degree angle wand, and you're just washing it down like you normally would, a little bit of soap, brush it, spray it, sure, it'll handle it no problem. It's not going to break anything. It's not going to pop a weld. That's not going to happen. So these little stands on the back of the air conditioner, that just gives it balance while it's sitting up on the curb. So as I had mentioned, the counter flashing that I built into these, it's built into this air conditioner right here as well. So now any water that's coming across, whether you're traveling or you just get a heavy storm coming your way, it's going to hit there and it's going to get redirected. What this other one is right here, there's a foam gasket up underneath here. So I don't want water to get to it. So when the water comes down, I don't want the wind to blow it back into that foam gasket. So we put this other piece up in the front. That goes below the counter flash and gets it real low to the roof, so it washes out. That's the whole purpose of that. Then on the sides here, we've got 2 layers of caulking. These are sealed on. We don't use butyl. These are sealed on. And we put 2 layers of caulking on here. And the reason why I always go along with 2 layers, so let me back up. I'm probably going a little fast. Once we glue the gutter on, what caulking does come up, we strike it down. And then when that cures, what we do is hit it with another lick of caulking. And then when that cures, I put yet another lick of caulking on there. So, you know, we get at least a couple layers on the top here. And the reason I do that is if you've ever ran a caulking gun and you're squeezing the trigger, you'll hear it pop and crackle. It doesn't matter the brand, it doesn't matter the quality. They get dispensed in those little cartridges the same way, and there's air in there. So now you have air. Now the coach is moving, twisting, racking, flexing, and I don't want that one layer with that air bubble breaching, and now I potentially got a leak. What are the chances of having one air bubble land on top of another? So that's why I do the 2 strikes on there. And the same thing up there, we replaced all that. We also went along and replaced all this insert trim, that cheap stuff. We got rid of all that and put the good stuff in there. And we also replaced here and got all that done, went around the front lights. So We want to make sure you got no issues. That's why folks come to us. They don't want a leak. And we do this because they're probably not going to think about it that time. And I hate to see someone needing, and that has we finish the roof, they go somewhere, it starts raining, and go, hey, I got a leak. And they come back and go, oh yeah, it was coming from your light. Well, gee whiz, it was already in the shop. Why don't you just do it then? It won't take a second to do it. So, we don't mind doing all that. I want to make sure you're done. You don't have any issues. Now, we didn't go around the rest of the coach, which I would recommend. Going around the rest of the coach, like making sure all the corners, especially on these aluminum ones, we really need to make sure those are all, sealed well. So the insert trim right here, I like this. This is a different style that you're going to get. And I don't sell any of this. We don't sell actually we don't sell anything at all. We're just a service center. So, and you can find some of this on Amazon. I think AP Products has a similar one. But I have to I buy almost 2 miles at a time with this stuff. But you can see it's got that little groove in there that slides into the track. That's how it works. You can see that little groove right there. All right. So this is the typical, this is your generic RV. And what I don't like about it does slide in the track, but the difference with this one is it slides in the track and over the track. So now the water can't really get behind into this track right in here. Where this one, the moisture drops will get right down on inside here and inside this track. So that's why we use this. That's just some cheap stuff. But this is just a better quality product. I would pop this loose and show you, but we make sure every screw is sealed underneath here. But the white that I have, it's a lot more flexible than this black. And I may have a booger of a time trying to put it back on with being on camera. But every single screw is sealed. Every single screw is sealed, just like this. Every single screw is sealed. You need to have them sealed. So if you're looking at this and you say, hey, you forgot to put the screws in the Skylight. Well, we didn't really forget, but these acrylic Skylights, is an issue with them, is that when you put these screws in them, now they expand. And these expand quite a bit. You're in the sun, it's nice and hot out, 100 degrees, or maybe you're in the desert, it's even hotter than that. And then wherever you are, you get a thunderstorm. Now it's going to contract. But while it's getting heated up from the sun, it's pushing on these screws. It'll push. And then when you get that thunderstorm, it wants to contract. It'll pull on those screws, and you get that constant expansion and contraction. So what happens is you'll end up with these little hair fractures. And over the years, I've drilled these out really big. I've even got a self-centering bit, and I did them nice and easy and torqued them down nice and easy. I mean, you have to do that anyways. And honestly, it just doesn't matter. They just always seem to want to crack. So I solely glue all these down. These are all glued. And we got a bed, just an absolute bed of adhesive in here. And the adhesives and the products I use, they're all commercial products. They're all designed to be used outside in the weather. So this particular product here is like liquid nails on steroids, designed to be outside. So you can use it as a caulking, or you can use it as an adhesive, or in this case as both. So super strong. Anybody can replace anything on here. The way we build these, I know there's going to be an issue where somebody at some point may have to work on an air conditioner. So those are all put together the same way. You can take them off, do it, and set it back on, and put everything back. There's no trick to it. If you're a tech and know how to do air conditioning, or if you hire a tech, or if you know how to do it yourself, you'll see what's going on. It's the same thing. No difference. Same thing with the vents. There's no difference. So you can take these vents off, you can replace them yourself. It's not a big deal at all. Same with the antenna. Anything. You can do it yourself. So you can reach out to us if you really needed to. If a customer needed to reach out to us to get some tips on it, we'd be glad to help them. But other than that, that's about the size of it. So let's see what I got here. All right. So here's all our information. And then we got the tan, the gray, and the white. Those are standard colors. So if you have some of these coaches that got tan and gray roofs, so we offer that as a standard color for it. But so other than that, we don't quote on social media. So if you if you're interested in any pricing, just give us a call, reach out to us, and we'd be glad to help you with your project. And like I said, we don't sell anything either. I'm trying to think if I cover everything. I should probably write some notes down. But And we're also I think is going to probably scroll across the screen. These are not necessarily DIY videos. And the reason they're not is they get lengthy as it is, and they would really be long for us to break it down and show how to do this, that, the other thing. There's just a lot of things we do behind the scenes that would just really absorb the video. And I think that's about it. So if you appreciate the video, I think they say if you hit it with a like up, then it helps somebody else find the video. Other than that, again, if you have any other questions or something, you can post something in the comments or whatever, and I try to read those and respond back to them. But going back on the DIY thing, like I said, we're just not a DIY channel like that. So, but we do appreciate everybody watching. Care package. Right. So in our care package we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, and we'll simulate a hole. You can do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through, and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof. It's leaking. So what you want to do? And it's raining out. Right now it's raining. You're like, crap, I got to stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you're trying to do, you need to get up underneath the roofing. Like this. This is what we need to do. Get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. Just squeeze, squeeze. You're going to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Get some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? No. Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag. Hey, what are you doing? What are you going to talk about, man? Nope, just leave it alone. Oh. Leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably need some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. There it is. Now you got the film. We take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. you just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a butyl. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can and flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That's simple. If it doesn't all sit in there, you can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of, there's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we get that all done, the whole purpose of it is this part here, this part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this, because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch, and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.